So yesterday, as I was having dinner, I realized something. You see the sky behind me? It was all clear, absolutely clear. And as you might know, in mountains the weather can change very quickly. So I had only one choice, to make a photograph that night. And that's what I did. So what do you do when the opportunity knocks and you haven't planned anything? Of course, you improvise. That's what I did. Went into the backyard, looked for the stuff what I could shoot as a subject, arranged it right here where I'm standing, and shot it. Why here? Because after checking the app PhotoPills, I found out that that night the core of Milky Way was going to pass right through that middle of the mountains. You see that area here? Exactly here was supposed to be the core of Milky Way. The procedure for the photograph was exactly the same as I have explained in my last video. The only problem I was going to have is that between me and the Milky Way is the town, which means light pollution. I had light pollution, and that shows in the photograph. But hey, improvisation is improvisation.
This is Ivan. He doesn't use Photoshop for photos.
No,
Why?
because it's cheating.
It's not cheating. You need the Photoshop for certain photographs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I use Photoshop, yeah? Let's go in. So let me tell you why using Photoshop is important, especially for this kind of photography. So basically, if you are familiar with the photography, you would know that when your f-stop is high, that means when your aperture is fully open to let light in, you can only get either your background in focus or the foreground in focus. You can have everything in focus, but for that you need to have your f-stop quite low and very small aperture, which is not going to let enough light in to get the stars so sharp, so pointy, because stars are not stationary, they keep moving across the sky. So when you have everything in focus, you're going to have to leave aperture open for a very long time to let enough light in, and in that time the stars will move and you'll see the light streaks on the screen. And that's why you need to have the aperture open, which is going to result in either background in focus or the foreground in focus. So get the sky sharp and clear. You need to take only the sky, and the foreground is going to be always out of focus. And to solve that problem, you have to shoot the foreground extra. This is the finished photograph, but you need to shoot the foreground extra and make sure that the foreground is in focus, and then it doesn't matter if the background is in focus or not. You need to change some settings. Of course, to get the result like this photograph here in one go, you need a huge setup. I mean, you're going to have some big lights around, but I'm not using those big lights. I'm just using a small torch. A small torch which is lighting up this wheelbarrow and the grass from different angles. And then you put up all these photographs together in Photoshop, or you can use any other stacking software. I don't know any other ones, but if you are familiar with those, you can use those softwares. So, in my opinion, I'm creating a piece of art from scratch, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not changing any details of that photo, but I'm creating something new. Using Photoshop for me is not cheating. I get a result like this. I mean, you still need to have basic knowledge of camera to create something like this. But that's my point. Using Photoshop to stack the photographs is a very basic thing to do, and I don't see it as a cheating. It's art. Well, the rest is up to you. How you think about the photography. I think it's everyone's own personal view. This photograph is up on my Instagram page, so if you haven't been there, link is in the description and you know what to do. That will be all for today, and we'll see us next time. Till then, bye-bye.